Well, I have come to know of Sea Change through Mr. Prakash, who fortunately took one training session for us when I was with ICICI Bank. And when IFMR as an organization got set up in 2007 and we relocated to Chennai from Bombay, the first port of call for me when it came to the training requirements and how do we go about structuring this function in our organization was obviously Mr. Prakash. So when I happened to meet him and mentioned that I attended his program, he immediately recollected having taken a session for us way back in 2005, and then said he would gladly be able to work with us on structuring the training requirements and put me in touch with Mr. Anand. And it was then that I got the good fortune of getting introduced to Anand and knowing him as a person. Then Anand and Prakash came down to our office and started to understand who we are and what is it that we are trying to do. And the best part of that interaction is it was not about running a program or conducting a session or looking at structuring a 10-day, 12-day kind of a training schedule, but it was more on asking me as the CEO of this company, what are my learning and development plans for my organization and how do we start building that capability within my organization. And from their perspective, they were looking at building the capability of running this function by my own team members at some point in time, and they would enable setting up that function, and that led to opening up of the possibilities of collaboration between Sea Change as an organization and IFMR Rural Channels, which was in the process of setting up the building blocks of our own mission and our own initiative. And that started our journey together, and we have been working on this project for almost 4 years now in different ways. First and foremost, we understood the structure that would entail paying equal attention or paying the required attention to training as a function. The person at that point in time, Purna, was the person in charge of people function in our setup, and she got to spend a lot of time with Prakash and with Anand, and they were actually gracious enough to pull in a couple of more consultants who have done this in their earlier setup and talk to us about how much of attention and how much of critical need is this training function to be given in the context of overall organization design. And the first and foremost training that we had to run for our people is making them understand their own purpose and the mission of the organization through a training that talked about passion in workplace. Then it was soon the performance management season, and we had just completed our rating exercise, and obviously whenever there is a rating exercise there are some people who are happy, some people not very happy. There was another program that the consultants of Sea Change and more importantly Prakash came and ran a specific program for those who were not given a great rating and who were given constructive feedback as part of the performance management system, so that they understand that as a process it is not a judgment of a person's capability, but it is more of a performance on a given task in a particular period of time, so that people came out of that training program, it was a 2-day training program, came out of that training program more determined, more enthusiastic to prove that they have the mettle to prove that they are capable of delivering their performance. And then we moved on to how do we structure a well understood or well implemented goal sheets for our team members. We worked on the balance scorecard, we worked on the performance management system template for each of the functions across the organization, so that people understand what their goals are, understand how they are going to be measured, and then work towards achieving those goals, so that the assessment when it happens at the end of the year is an objective assessment. Last but not the least, our engagement did not get confined to the functional or technical aspects. They ran a program on creativity or working on how do we make people consider all the options before a decision is being made under the framework of the six thinking hats of De Bono, and that changed the way the decision making happened in our small team. Being a small organization, we needed people to look at all possibilities, not just wear a devil's hat, advocate hat, or not just wear a creativity hat or possibilities hat, but look at how do we take a decision given the given the market that we operate in, and consider all the aspects of a decision making. And this has been a very fruitful engagement with Sea Change, and we have gained a lot through our association with Prakash, Anand, and several of the consultants who are affiliated to Sea Change.